Okay, so I want to talk about something that I think every GTA 5 player has felt at some point, but nobody really sat down and explained properly. You know how Los Santos feels alive, right? Cars everywhere, people everywhere, stuff happening constantly. That's just the normal energy of that game. But then at some point, you leave the city, you drive north, past everything, and you end up in the forest, and something just feels off immediately. Not scary exactly, just wrong. Like the game became a different game and didn't tell you. And I've been thinking about why that feeling exists, because I don't think Rockstar accidentally made the forest feel like that. I think they built it that way on purpose. And when you actually dig into what's in there, what players have been reporting since 2013, and what Rockstar quietly put in without telling anyone, it starts making a lot of sense. The forest is called Paleto Forest. It sits right at the base of Mount Chiliad in Blaine County. And the first thing Rockstar did that most people walk right past is the official description of the area surrounding it, the Chiliad Mountain State Wilderness right next to the forest. Rockstar wrote this themselves, not in a mission, not as dialogue, as the actual real description of the place. It says more people go missing here than anywhere else in San Andreas. That's it. That's the description. They told you from the beginning what kind of place this is, and then they made it look beautiful so you'd want to go in anyway. Now, the most famous thing in the forest is the abandoned sawmill. Big red building, rusted conveyor belts, lumber stocked everywhere. Nobody inside. And during the day, you actually see workers there. But at night, the whole place goes dark and spotlights come on. And after the mission where Franklin and the crew go in to rescue Lamar from the Ballas, something starts happening that players noticed pretty quickly. Eerie sounds start coming from the building, even when there's nobody there. No mission running, no gang activity, nothing. Just sounds from an empty building. And the GTA Myths community documented this. The theory is that the ghost of the Ballas killed during the Lamar mission are still in there, which sounds like just a fun, spooky idea until you realize that you can never actually go inside that building. The doors are permanently locked. The whole interior is inaccessible. So whatever is making those sounds, you literally cannot go check. You just have to stand outside and listen. But okay, the sawmill is creepy. That's known. Let me tell you about something less talked about. There are petroglyphs in this area, rock carvings, and not random ones either. Players found them and they directly connect to the symbols inside the cable car station at the top of Mount Chiliad, the same symbols that have been part of the biggest unsolved mystery in GTA 5 for over 10 years. And here's why this matters. The GTA Myths Wiki has a whole page on Native Americans in GTA 5, and what it says is that in the game's actual code, there are files referencing a Native American tribe that was supposed to exist in the wilderness. The Tongva Hills northwest of Los Santos are literally named after the Tongva people, a real indigenous tribe of California. Rockstar named a location after a real tribe and then buried references to them in the game files without making it explicit. In those cave symbols near the altruist compound, the ones that match Mount Chiliad, those are designed to look like real indigenous petroglyphs, the kind found all over California and the American Southwest. Rockstar built an entire hidden layer of Native American history into the wilderness that sits underneath all the other myths. Like the land itself has a history that existed before any of the GTA 5 story, and the game acknowledges it quietly through names and symbols that most players never stop to read. That is genuinely something. A game about crime in modern California, hiding real indigenous history in its code, in its landscape, and barely anyone talks about it. Now, let's talk about what happens to players who spend too long out there at night, because this one is my favorite thing in the whole forest, and it has a real-world explanation that makes it so much better. It's called panic in the woods. So what happens is this: you're deep in the wilderness, it's night, and the forest goes completely silent first. Everything stops. No wind, no animals, nothing, just silence. And then a few seconds later, this loud, high-pitched buzzing sound starts, and your health starts going down, slowly but steadily. And it keeps happening until you get out of the wilderness and find civilization, a road, another person, a town. The moment you reach any of that, it stops completely. Now, here's the real-world part. This is named after a real dog documented phenomenon, not a video game thing, a real thing that happens to people in forests. And it's named after the Greek god Pan, the protector of wild places. In Greek mythology, Pan would sometimes make his presence felt in wild areas, and anyone who experienced it would be overcome with irrational terror and the desperate need to run towards people in civilization. And that's where the word panic comes from. Literally, the word panic comes from Pan. In real life, people who get genuinely lost deep in forests sometimes describe the exact same sequence: total silence first, then overwhelming fear with no visible cause. And the GTA myths community connected panic in the woods to another myth in the same area, because Pan, the god this is named after, is a goat-like creature, half man, half goat. Which brings me to the next thing, the goatman. Players have reported seeing something at the Raton Canyon Bridge near Cape Catfish at night. A humanoid figure, standing upright, covered in hair, horns on its head, and when spotted, it runs under the bridge towards the ocean and disappears. Now, the original Goatman legend comes from Maryland in real life, a creature spotted on Appalachian trails that supposedly attacked people. And there's also a famous real bridge in Texas called Old Alton Bridge that locals call Goatman's Bridge because of a legend attached to it. Players theorized that Rockstar referenced both of these when designing the Cape Catfish Bridge area. And here's the thing that makes this genuinely interesting, rather than just another fake myth. When Rockstar released the enhanced version of GTA 5, they added a secret collectible weapon hidden in the wilderness, a hatchet. The Maryland Goatman's weapon of choice in the original legend is specifically a hatchet. Rockstar added it quietly in the same update and said nothing about it. Players found a small cave with a fire burning inside, occult symbols on the walls, and a goat skull on the ground. During the day, just sitting there, no mission, no explanation, a fire, occult symbols, and a goat skull inside a cave on the mountain that overlooks the forest where the Goatman is supposedly seen. The GTA Myths community also pointed out that panic in the woods, the buzzing health drain thing, is directly connected to the Goatman, because the symptoms, the silence, the paranoia, the feeling of something nearby, those are exactly what people describe in real Goatman encounter stories. And Pan, the god this is named after, is literally a goatman, half goat. The two myths are the same myth. Rockstar buried it in two separate places in the same area and let players connect it themselves. And then Bigfoot, which I have to include because of how Rockstar handled it. When the game came out, players immediately started hunting for Bigfoot because of the GTA San Andreas legend. Paleto Forest became the main place everyone looked, and for a long time, nothing showed up. And then Rockstar added a secret side mission called The Last One, where Franklin chases a creature through the forest and catches it. And it's a man, a conspiracy theorist who spent years in the woods looking for the real Bigfoot, went insane and started dressing as one. He's the last survivor of a group of 7 people who all came to search for Bigfoot. The other 6 all died in the wilderness. So Rockstar's answer to the Bigfoot myth is that the forest already killed everyone who went looking. The myth isn't the scary thing, the forest is. And there's one more thing. In the mission Predator, if you look through your thermal scope at a specific moment in the bottom right corner of the screen, something large appears in the tree line, and then it's gone. One frame, never explained, never confirmed. The real Bigfoot was in the game the whole time, just for a single second, and then gone. Now let me tell you about the altruist cult, because most players who found them just fought their way through the camp and left. They never actually understood what they were looking at. The altruist cult is a group of elderly men living in a fortified compound deep in the Chiliad mountain state wilderness. They hate technology, they hate anyone under 40. They walk around half naked or sometimes completely naked in the mountains, and they are cannibals. They eat human beings. And the most disturbing thing about them is not what they do, it is how they get their food. Trevor Phillips, one of the main characters of GTA 5, he delivers people to them. Not enemies, not criminals, random people who needed help. Hitchhikers, drunk drivers, people stuck on the side of the road. Trevor pulls over, offers them a lift, and then instead of taking them home, he drives them up the mountain and hands them to the cult at the gate. And here is what gets me. Trevor calls them his friends in the mountains. He already knew about them before the game even starts. He's been doing this for a while. Okay, now I want to tell you about one that is different from everything else in this video, because everything I have showed you you so far, most of it has an answer. Bigfoot has an answer. Panic in the Woods has an answer. This one has no answer. The Tongva Hills creature. Players started reporting it almost immediately after GTA 5 came out. Something in the Tongva Hills and Tongva Valley region, not in Paleto Forest, south of the city near Marlow Vineyards. And what they describe is not a specific creature. It's more like a presence. Something that appears only at midnight during storms or snow. Something that only shows up away from roads, deep in the grass and terrain where visibility is almost zero. And here's what makes this different from a normal myth. The creature allegedly attacks NPCs. Migrant workers at the vineyard show up dead with no explanation. No mountain lion nearby, no weapon, just dead. And when this happens, the player gets a warrant level, which means the game registered a crime, which means the game acknowledged that something killed those workers, but there was no visible attacker. The GTA Myths community spent years on this one, and their conclusion is genuinely unsatisfying in the best way. They said with no visual evidence and no consistency in reports, this is very unlikely, a probably debunked myth. But then they added one line. Due to the large variety of animals in the game, a yet-to-be-discovered creature is a possibility. Rockstar put hundreds of animal types into GTA 5. Most players never cataloged all of them. The idea that something lives in the Tongva Valley that players never properly identified is not impossible. It's just unproven. And the most interesting theory about what it actually is comes from the Humane Labs connection. Humane Labs and Research is a facility in GTA 5 that does illegal animal experimentation. Players found evidence of hybrid animal research in the game files connected to that building. And the theory is that something escaped from Humane Labs, something that was made there and got out, and it lives in the valley now. You can drive through Tongva Hills at midnight in a storm, and the grass is so dense and the visibility is so low that you genuinely cannot see more than 20 feet in any direction. And players have described that experience as the most unsettling thing in the game, not because something attacks them, because something might, and they can never rule it out. So why does the GTA 5 forest actually feel weird when you're standing in it? I think it's because of how many layers Rockstar's stacked on top of each other. You have the mountain lions, which are a real in-game threat you can't see. You have the official description already telling you people disappear here. You have indigenous history buried in the code and the landscape. You have the goatman connected to a real-world legend and its own mythology inside the game. You have Panic in the Woods, which is named after a real-world psychological phenomenon. And you have Rockstar punishing everyone who went looking for Bigfoot by killing their characters in the forest. Every single layer of this place is designed to make you feel like you don't belong there, like something was there before you and it's still there, and it doesn't want you. And most people just drive through it on the way to a mission marker. So did you ever feel this when you were in the forest tonight? Did you experience Panic in the Woods without knowing what it was? Drop it in the comments, I genuinely want to know. And if you haven't seen my videos on Eddie Lowe from GTA 4 and Auntie Poulet from Vice City, you should go watch those. I'll meet you there.